Hi, Chef Swift and Merrick. It's Tina. I'm here talking about my book, Dirty Dishes. It's based on a chef named Pino Luongo. He was born Giuseppe. It's basically based on his life and him being an immigrant coming to the United States and getting into the restaurant business and basically all the ups and downs, the greed, all of the media, basically how he grew so fast and everything fell down really fast as well. So I'll give a little overview of his life, and then I'll tell you what I kind of thought about the book. So he was born in Tuscany in the Porto Santo Stefano region. His mom was basically the main reason why he really loved to cook. He loved watching her in the kitchen. She was basically his main role model as to why he really liked to work with food and the smells, especially during Christmas. His dad was a military veteran. So basically, his mom was at home and was actually a cook. So she was at home mom and she cooked a lot. Other than that, he was actually, when he was 16, he decided to go work for his uncle at his uncle's restaurant. From there, he learned the aspects of back of the house, front of the house, how to wait tables, be a busboy. He learned all of the secrets from his uncle, so that was really interesting for him. When he was 18, he actually decided to move to Rome to pursue his acting career. However, once he actually got a role, a really, really big role, he actually got drafted to the military, and because his dad was a military veteran, he really did not want to go. He actually blamed his dad because he thought that his dad put his name in the military for him to get drafted. So from there, he actually decided to move to the United States because he didn't necessarily hate his dad, but he blamed his dad. So he moved to the United States. That way he couldn't get drafted. So he actually spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer actually told him, yes, you should probably go to the United States, and then I'll call you when you can come home once this is all settled. Instead, he actually started working at a restaurant. So he moved there with his girlfriend Patty at the time. He decided to work at a restaurant called De Silvano's. At De Silvano's, he really got along with the owner. The owner loved him. He understood how to do everything. I mean, the back of the house, front of the house. He basically used everything that he had from his uncles and he placed it into Del Savano's, and everybody respected him, and there was a lot of celebrities that came in. It was a very well-known restaurant. With this, the owner actually started getting jealous, so instead of them staying really good friends, they actually started kind of to become enemies. So then Pino actually decided to leave, and then he started working at a restaurant called Zeno's, and from there he met Steve and Nicola, who actually brought up the idea of creating their own restaurant. So he moved to New York in 1980, and he actually opened up his restaurant in 1983 with, of course, Steve and Nicola. So they got the funds from Steve, and it was called Il Cantinori. So it was basically his pride and joy. It was very, very successful. All the celebrities that were from De Salvano's actually started going to his restaurant because it was a different kind of Tuscan taste. So it was very, very successful. With the money, he actually decided to open up another restaurant, and that was in the Hamptons. So he decided to open up a restaurant in the Hamptons, and that was successful as well. And from there, he just opened up a chain of restaurants, which are all very, very successful. He also partnered up with Barney's, which is a big retail store now, then and now. And they opened up Mad 61, so it's basically a collaboration of retail and then restaurant. So they put those together. However, Barney's actually filed for bankruptcy, and because Pino actually didn't sign the contract, he really had no right to Mad 61. But being the smart man that Pino is, he actually trademarked all of his names for his restaurants. So when Barney decided to not give him the restaurant and sell out the restaurant to him, because Pino had the name Mad 61, Barney's, once they tried to reopen the restaurant, they couldn't because they couldn't take the name. So I think that was really smart of him. Otherwise, he then took over a chain that was filing for bankruptcy. It's called Suffusi. So he took over that chain, and he actually expanded his Coco Pazzo restaurant. He created like a line of restaurants, so he varied anywhere from Dallas to Chicago. And unfortunately, because he already knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to be successful, he knew that it was going to basically put him in a downfall, which it did. Unfortunately, his greed took over, and he decided to go through with it. But of course, his whole empire, the whole empire basically just started falling down, especially with September 11th, with the 2 plane crashes and his restaurant being in that area. And then he was also trying to open up Tuscany Square, which was his dream, a mix between retail from clothes from Tuscany, all of the cookware from Tuscany, which he actually went to Italy to actually get and bring back. And then, of course, restaurant, that failed as well. So at the end of his career, basically, he was only left with one restaurant, which was called Centelier. So that was the only restaurant that he was left in at the end of his career. However, I think that's a little good because now he can focus on being a really good dad because he has 3 kids with his new wife, Jessie. So aside from the book, which I thought was really good, actually it had like a slow beginning, but it was really good. I think it's a really good outlook on how greed can really take over your career and your life. And I think he should have stuck with the first couple of restaurants he had, and he shouldn't have went through Safuzi because his gut instinct told him that he shouldn't do it, but he did it anyway because he thought that he would be a good investment. Otherwise, it says the foreword is by Anthony Bourdain. So he actually met Anthony when Anthony worked at a restaurant for him. It was a teatro restaurant. And so Anthony was actually hired as an executive chef there, but unfortunately, because Anthony could not produce dishes in a timely manner, Pino had to fire him. So that's basically how Anthony knows Pino, because they were actually very, very good friends. Pino really, really liked Anthony, and so that's the reason why it's a foreword by Anthony Bourdain. Other than that, I thought the book was very interesting. I read it and I couldn't stop reading it, so I would honestly say that if anybody really wants to get into the restaurant business, I would say they should read this book because it really shows how greed can get in the way of your career and the love of cooking, because unfortunately he first started forgetting about why he started doing this in the beginning was because he loved to cook. So now, because he only has one restaurant, he can focus on his love for cooking, and so that's it. Bye.